Family to me is everything. It's something I thought I would not have of my own. I always imagined family was my mom, my dad, my brother, and my sister, and I imagined that until I was 50. Imagine at 50, someone saying, hey, guess what? You're actually gonna have a whole other family. And it still surprises me and delights me and fills me to the top to know that I have Haley and Hope, a 5 and 3-year-old, who, by the way, fell asleep on me yesterday after meltdowns, but still, and I sang to them. And in that moment, I was just thinking to myself, like, I get to feel these things and we get to have this together. Everything changed when I adopted Hope and Haley. And now when I think of family, I mean, I think of a disbelief is what comes over me when I think of family, to think that I have my own little family, which still blows my mind. They are into bubbles and swimming. They are into sand crabs and snails. They're scooping them up all the time and putting them in buckets. They're into ice cream, they're, in sprinkles. They're into all the summer things. And watching them live this part of their life is one of the great joys of mine. Like I was just picturing them like, is that a sand crab, Mama? Look, come with me, sit with me, hold my hand. One of my favorite feelings in the world is walking, putting my hand back without a word and feeling a little hand in mine. The day that they don't grab my hand, I can kind of sense it, but for right now, it's just like water flowing, and in my hand it goes, and off I walk with them. I want to hold their hands forever and ever. They are both into their scooters and they can go super fast. It is terrifying. I mean, not in New York City because, but in a little town, they love to fly around. They are into songs. They are into dance parties. They have their own playlists. They love the song Impossible, Impossible for a plain yellow pumpkin. And they love Do You Believe in Magic? Just because, they're just songs that they learned in their classes. They just said something the other day and they called it Super Sister Save the Day. And I watched them, these two kids now on their scooters, Super Sisters Save the Day. Two sisters. They are gonna have each other forever. And I think that is what really fills me to the top, because any older parent knows that one of our secret fears is that we won't be there for milestones. And I try not to think about that, because you don't know what life's going to show or reveal. But I do know for sure that they're going to have each other till the end. And that, nothing makes me feel more peaceful than that feeling. When they do their Super Sisters, I always think to myself, yes, Super Sisters, like forever, you guys have each other. And so that fills me with a sense of peace. Beautiful. Haley tells everyone to stand in line. No, not like that, like this, not like that, like this. And my sister and my mom always goes, "Sounds familiar." And I'm like, what? But yes, I do think it's important to be the boss, and I think it's cool that to have the confidence to be out in front and saying, this is how we're gonna do it. Kids follow Haley around. I mean, she can't help it. That's just, she's Charles in charge, and it's kind of cool. And Hopi is an incredible, she's very intuitive. I feel like she was sitting on the potty and I was talking to her. And I said, there was once a little girl named Hope. She said, tell me a story. So I was telling her a story. And I said, she had beautiful brown eyes and she was a lovely little girl. And I was telling this story and finally at the end, I go, and that little girl changed my life. And she looked at me and she said, Mama? I said, yeah. She said, you changed mine. I was like, I'm sitting there crying while she's on the potty. And I thought to myself, is that an amazing thing for her to say, for a 3-year-old to say? Anyway, so I try to instill confidence And also humility. You know, you want both things. You want confidence and you want humility, equal parts.
Where are you? Hope.
Well, I learned so much during the pandemic because I don't think we'd ever been inseparable for that long a period of time. Because usually someone goes to school, someone goes to here, someone goes to there. And I think I just learned to be a better listener. I spent most of my life talking over them, and I didn't know I was doing it. I was like, come to me, say yes, why, yes, say blueberry, blue, can you say blue, blue, blue? And I realized in that time, it's time to stop and listen to them instead of talking, instead of always speaking. A friend of mine said, look at your home movies and tell me what you see on your phone. And what did I see? My big mouth yelling over everything they were trying to say. So the pandemic turned me into a better listener. I think it made me see them. You know, you can see your kid and not see your kid. You don't see them, and they're trying to tell you something, and they're right in front of you, and they're actually saying it, but you're too busy saying, get off the table, get down, put it down, that's too hot, da, da, da. You're too busy being that person. And so I think it taught me to be more empathetic and also to not be so hard on myself. You know, when I have bad parenting moments, which I have, to not like beat myself up and to realize like, okay, you messed up today, cool. I always say I'm sorry if I do, when I do. And I learned too that sometimes saying little things to your kids that aren't true is not a good idea. Maybe we'll go, maybe we'll do that. And you realize a little white lie can turn into many, many, many. So I'm trying to be more direct and straight and clear and honest with them. Our home vibe is big old. It's like stuff is everywhere, everywhere. I try every night to like put it back, like Humpty Dumpty, put it all back together again, but we can't help it. I found half of a peach a day and a half later on a plate by the fireplace. It was just sitting there. I was like, is that the peach we had 2 days ago? Melted popsicles just stuff is everywhere. You can't fight it. It's like a wave. It's like a crashing wave. And every time you get some of it out, it just knocks you back down. But there's a weird kind of a bliss to the chaos. And I try, because you don't want to live in we try to have stuff where it belongs. But inevitably, there are paints out, there's stuff that gets lost. We're still looking for a pair of blue glasses. I don't know where they are. Haley's pair, they're somewhere. But I feel like I'm just less fussy about all of that stuff. And I feel like our house is a home. My mom is amazing. I mean, she is A1 number one. They love her. And in fact, Haley was talking about getting her driver's license, which is weird for a 5-year-old. And I said, who's the first person you're gonna go pick up? And she goes, Tata, that's my mom. She goes, I'm gonna pick her up in the car. Maybe we'll go to Rehoboth Beach. Because my mom loves Rehoboth. And I was like almost on the verge of tears listening to her, knowing who's your first ride? And she said, my mom. I have wonderful people who are helping us throughout. A friend, I call them friends, they're much more than people who work with us. They're friends, they're now family. Cindy and Rosenda, they're like family. My sister, my best friend Karen. When they say it takes a village, it takes a village. And I feel so fortunate to have a circle that's so overflowing with love for these kids. These kids will never know what it's like not to be loved. Joel and I we're really good co-parents. I think in life sometimes you kind of realize that you had a very beautiful relationship, which I did with Joel. It was I don't regret 1 minute, 1 second of that relationship. It was a great relationship. And some relationships end at your last breath, and some relationships end before then. And two very lovely people can be different. And you can realize, because relationships are evolving. He's a great guy, he's a lovely guy, and he's a great dad. And which makes co-parenting and that part of our relationship something that has been very like smooth and peaceful. I mean, it's, you know, you always wonder when you look in someone else's house, like what's going on in there. But we've figured out a nice way where on the weekends he'll see the girls on a Saturday, and he'll switch off each week, and he'll take the girls to school during the week. And he's a really good guy, and I feel like that relationship with him was great in so many ways, but especially in two ways: Haley and Hope. And I think without Joel, I don't know that I would have ever had the courage to adopt. So I am forever grateful. And, you know, we share two beautiful kids. Lucky us. I wake up usually around 3, and I do a little morning routine of my own to try to, and every morning I leave them a note and a map to find the note, okay? 2 pages. So I draw cartoons and I do this, and then I hide it and da-da-da. So they see that before they go to school. So I don't get to see them when they are in the morning time. But the great thing about these jobs, when you wake up at 3, you actually are done super early. So I often get to pick them up from school, which is great, in the afternoon at 2 or 2:30. And then you get the afternoon too. Now the problem is sometimes you're on E. Your tank is empty, you're dead because you were up at 3 a.m. And so by 3 or 4 p.m., you're like tipping over. So I was trying to do some meditation, because I feel like if you meditate, you can kind of get some energy back in the tank a little bit. So I've been doing that a little bit in the afternoon, and I find that my afternoon is better. So I do dinner. Let me tell you something. We are in the bath at 6. No, we're drying off, 6:30 in the room. Nighty night, nighty night. We sing all their songs. I love you, Haley. Oh yes, I do. I love you, Hopi. It's over. Lights out. Click 7. Mama goes into her room, shower, brush her teeth, night night. I'm usually out by 7:30 or 8. Because I have to get up at 3. Is that the weirdest? I'm on a child schedule. I've thought about expanding our family. And when I think about it, my eyes just like well up. And I feel like sometimes in life I'm open, I'm like wide open. And if it's meant to come to me, I'm ready. Like I feel like we have space and love and all the things you need. And if it's meant to be, I hope and pray it happens. And if it's not, I totally understand. But I feel like we have a place that would be, it would be beautiful if it happened. And so, is there another child in store? God only knows, but I hope so.